All right. Hey YouTube, I'm Lucky, and Bungie has just recently changed the Sandbox inside Destiny 2 for PvP, and of course, this is going to affect Trials drastically. Trials is the pinnacle endgame PvP activity, so I wanted to give you my thoughts and opinions after playing a full weekend of Trials, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and now Monday. I wanted to give you my thoughts and ideas of what I think of Bungie's newest Trials iteration after we've had the complete revamp now, along with these sandbox changes. I know a lot of you have been asking this and requesting this, so let's go ahead and dive right in. All right, first up, we need to talk about the focus is on weapons and gunplay now, and Bungie definitely hit the nail on the head with this one. This is actually really, really good. I'm noticing so much more that people are spamming abilities way less, and supers are almost non-existent in Trials. I can't even tell you the number of games, because I play very aggressively. I can't even tell you the number of games where no one got any supers. We just won 5-0, or even if the match went to like 5-3, we still didn't see any supers. It seemed like supers only really came into play if teams played extremely passive and it went to like round 8 or round 9 in Trials. That seemed like the only time they came into play. I played so many games and just didn't even get any supers, And the thing about that is that most people have been so accustomed and so used to using these roaming supers for so long. They have just been so dominant that I don't even think players know how to use anything else, right? They don't even know, like, what do we do without that, right? And even if you do run like Well of Radiance, which has the fastest recharge rate of super, even still, if you rock that, you have to get hit by damage and receive, give out kinetic damage in order to get that super charged up fast. So you have to get in those gunfights, and getting in those gunfights equals, kills or deaths and round wins or losses, which means you still just don't get your super, right? Unless you just get in this endless like rift battles of you're shooting at someone in their rift and they're shooting at you in your rift, which does happen. And there are a lot of warlocks, and I'm going to go over that in a minute here. There are a lot of warlocks sitting in rifts, and I think it's becoming a little bit of a plague. Sorry to roast the warlocks too much, but it would seem like supers are almost not a thing in Trials anymore, which is kind of crazy. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Did you enjoy like having almost no super in Trials? This is something that people have theorized should be a thing for a long time, and now we almost got it. Now we almost have it. There's almost no supers in Trials, and ability spam, ability crutch was almost non-existent. The only exception I really even saw to this was maybe like Titans, like Arc Titans punching things like crazy with their Dune Marchers, the Synthseps, and all that stuff. And then the Stasis Warlock was kind of like using the freeze rift and freeze melees. A few of those guys were just really, relying on those abilities, hiding until they got those recharged up. But really, it wasn't that big a deal. Overall, the ability spam and crutch was removed. Now, the one problem that does come with that is that removing that stuff felt like, okay, well, that'll take away the less skillful things, right? Like Shatter Dive, right? Something that has plagued PvP for a while, something that even I used quite a bit because I was doing carries, which I know everyone wants to roast me for using Shatter Dive, but I was doing carries, okay? I had a reason. But the thing is that Shatter Dive needed to get nerfed, right? And the ability spam and the ability crutches needed to get nerfed. But the problem is that now people are sort of relying on other things that are still kind of cheesy within the weapon meta, right? We've got things like, if I'm being honest, like DMT and Chaperone and Le Monarch are kind of a crutch as well, almost equally as bad as some of the abilities that were being crutched back in the past, in my opinion. And if you disagree, feel free to comment down below and let me know, but I really do think that those three weapons are especially painful, and maybe Bungie will adjust those with time, or maybe they'll buff some other weapons to allow there to be a little bit more diversity, but those three definitely seem to be very, very painful, and the Trials meta report, which will come out soon, will definitely testify to that. You'll see the numbers are pretty crazy with those weapons. So that aside, so we got the abilities were taken down almost to like base level. A few abilities still stand out a little bit. A few weapons stand out almost worse than some abilities. And then when it comes to subclasses, now this is where things get really interesting. And I tried to remove my bias from this as much as possible because I am a Hunter main at this point in time. I used to be a Titan main, and I might be going back there very soon, but it would seem like the strongest class right now is certainly Warlock, and especially that Dawnblade class, right? I'll give you my reasons why. You have offensive abilities like, you've got your melee, which reaches across the map. You've got your solar grenade, damages over time, and you've got the rift, so you can get in those endless gunfights, dealing damage, receiving damage, peak shooting with your DMT or whatever it may be, right? Or a hand cannon for that matter. And then once that all else fails, if you have to, you can always turn around and Icarus dash back in your spawn. That class just stands out so much more. I don't know. There's no way of looking up the API. I can look up the API of the weapons. I can't look up the API of subclass usage, but I would almost be willing to bet that the majority of people out there are rocking warlocks now, which maybe is a good thing because historically, especially with Guardian games, we've noticed that there's too many hunters out there. Hunters have just been so dominant for so long, such a prevalent class, that maybe that was what Bungie's goal was to nerf the hunters dodge so that way they don't reduce tracking anymore, and obviously bringing down all the abilities across the board. And so now basically all hunters have is like the ability to move around a corner, which is still really strong, the ability to move around the corner. But Dawnblades also have that, and they have a healing rift, and they have probably the best grenade in the game, and arguably one of the better melees in the game. So it's that class is definitely a little bit out of tune or out of balance, I would say, and definitely has a big advantage. And then if I had to go over what the second and third best classes are, I mean, Titans, they don't have that movement ability. You can use shoulder charge, but it takes a little bit of setup, right? You don't want to be in the middle of a gunfight and then have to sprint and get your shoulder charge to get out of there, right? That's not the goal. The goal is to be able to click a button and dodge out of there, or click a button and Icarus dash out of there. That's what you really want. What we need is Twilight Garrison to come back, okay? Bungie, bring back Twilight Garrison. Sound off in the comments if you want Twilight Garrison to come back. That's what would really make Titans feel so good in this current sandbox. But unfortunately, Twilight Garrison is not here, so Titans do have that disadvantage. But that Arc Titan, oh my goodness, the bottom tree Arc Titan is so strong still. I mean, Knockout is just so good. I can't even tell you the number of times people just mowed through my team randomly, running through some crazy hallway like a bat out of hell, and just ran through my team. I mean, Titans are still very dominant with their melees, and especially with that bottom tree striker. And then Hunters, we do have some good abilities. Don't get me wrong. You know, Spectral's got a pretty good mid game and a good roaming super, but again, you don't really get your super, right? You just don't really get your super. So unless you play a really slow game, round 9, you get your super. No one really wants to do that, though. So you have one of the poorer mid games, other than the dodge. The dodge is nice, and it is across all classes, which is a nice added bonus. But overall, that dodge doesn't remove tracking from grenades anymore, and it's just not nearly as strong as having something like a healing rift or Titan Wall, in my opinion. That's way more objective focused and tends to do a lot more in the game overall. But let me know what your ranking list is right now. Mine is Warlock, number 1, Solar Warlock, Arc Titan, and number 3 would be Hunter. Probably Golden Gun. I mean, that throwing knife, you can see me using the weighted knife in the videos, is really, really good. The new Arc staff has a great grenade. Obviously, it's a one-hit kill ability, but the super is just absolutely laughable. I mean, I can tell you, I outran several Arc Hunters this weekend and was just laughing at them because it was a complete joke. It's very easy to outrun them, so their super is basically rendered useless. All they have are their mid-game abilities, which that grenade, I think that grenade killed me one time the entire weekend, and I got about 10 of them thrown at me. So that grenade really isn't that good, even though it is one-hit kill. It does have one-hit kill. It is a one-hit kill ability, one-hit kill potential, but I still don't think it's that good. So let me know your rankings on that. Overall, though, I want to give my overall opinions. We do feel weaker, and that's something that Bungie has been very hesitant to do in the past. But for whatever reason, they pulled the trigger on it this time, and they decided that they're going to nerf all the abilities across the board. I do feel like we're a little bit weaker overall, and I'm not sure if this is the right approach. Maybe with time we'll get buffs to certain things. Maybe we'll get some new exotics now to buff these abilities. I imagine that's probably the route Bungie's going to go. I mean, it makes a lot of sense, right? If all the abilities kind of suck right now, if a new exotic comes out that makes some ability that's just absolutely trash really good all of a sudden, it'll be kind of fun and be kind of exciting, right? We'll see what Bungie does with this. Overall, I do like it. I do like the focus being more on gunplay. I would kind of like trials to be more of the zone trials, and I know that's maybe a bit of a controversial opinion, but it seemed like a lot of people just decided to hide in the building this weekend, and it got really frustrating. I mean, I didn't want to run in there and get into a big shotgun fight, but it is what it is overall. I think that the current iteration of Trials is about an 8 or 9 out of 10, as good as it could be as a playlist. But if you think there's room for improvement, let me know in the comments below. What improvements would you change to Trials, and did you enjoy playing this weekend and chasing after that Adept Shagira's Wrath? Make sure to subscribe with notifications on if you did enjoy this video. Smash the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Later.